Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Ben Crossman, and everyone out there, how you doing? Hey, it's been a couple days, but happy that you could tune in, happy that you can join us, and of course, well, today we have none other than Corey Gallagher, of course, popzara.com. If you haven't heard of them, then you haven't been listening to the show for very long, because, hey, we get a lot of correspondence from there, and it may be a week or two delayed, but it's okay. We've let the dust settle, and it's time to finally recap on E3. So this is going to be a lot of fun, where we are going to be talking about all the new games that were announced, all the new projects, just every kind of news that you can possibly get from E3. So, personally, Computer America was, kind of out of, running best ofs. We were out of town, and we are, of course, looking forward to, playing catch up. So everyone, once again, welcome into the program. Let's see. So first things first, computeramerica.com. That will have everything, including the show notes. That will have anything that we talk about here today, any games that we talk about, any articles, videos, anything and everything will be in the show notes at our website. Also, be sure to check out the live video feed where you can watch Computer America and not just listen, although if you're listening to the radio, perfectly fine. That's good. And last but not least, be sure to check out some of the articles that we have there. And hey, sign up for social media. Why not? So everyone, welcome into the program. Let's go ahead and bring on our guest. We'll go ahead because E3 is a massive, it's a massive convention, and we're going to try our best this, the show. I think we're going to hit the highlights, but there's always a lot to talk about after a convention such as this. So let's go ahead and bring him on. So, as I said before, hailing from PopZara, of course, where he is, I believe, the senior games editor. Don't quote me on that. But, he, of course, writes for PopZara, writes for The Well-Read Mage, and, of course, just an all-around fun guy to talk to. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Corey, welcome back onto Computer America. How you been?
Hey, I've been pretty good. Thank you so much for having me.
Our pleasure, our pleasure. Happy that you could join us. And like I said, a week or two out, but that's perfectly okay because we, some stuff tends to come out after the show where, E3 is all about the hype, how excited can you get people? And then after that, you start to get some of the more details. So I'm perfectly fine with this, and I'm happy that you could finally come on and join us and talk about E3. So before we get started, let's just, kind of gauge what were your expectations going into and coming out of E3? Was this year's E3, kind of much anticipated at least for you personally?
Well, personally, I tend to go one year, skip the next year. I find that tends to be the best way of catching the really important, interesting stuff. And this year was an off year, so I didn't actually go. But I expected some good games, and we got some good games. There was also a hardware announcement, which I wasn't expecting. And it's all pretty exciting.
That's just what we want to hear. So we're going to go ahead and throw up some some E3 2019 recap stuff on the screen, but I'll go ahead and let you kind of, because they're really every single publisher. Although I don't, and actually if you could kind of clarify which big companies kind of like CES at the beginning of the year, some mega companies don't tend to take advantage of E3. They try to sit out or make their own news. A lot of game publishers do take advantage of E3, but which companies, I guess, were notably absent from E3? Like, was Microsoft there? Was Sony there? Yeah.
Well, the big thing we were missing this year was definitely Sony. Sony did not show up to E3; they just skipped it. And I don't know if that really surprises me. I'm not really sure how much they'd have to show this year, to be honest. Especially compared to, say, your Microsoft, who had new hardware, your Ubisoft, your Square Enix, who had a lot of interesting things to show off. I feel like at a certain point, the cost risk analysis becomes a bit too hefty on the risk side. You're paying a lot of money to be at E3. And if you don't have a lot to show, it might not even be that good for you. So take a year off if you have to.
I suppose so, and more companies are tending to do that. But E3 is still going on, even though if you talk to Nathan Evans, he seems to think that every year is the death knell for every major convention. So, but that's not this year. E3 certainly showed up in lots of games, like you said, and a lot more. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll let you decide which. Do you want to break this down by publisher? Do you want to start with the hardware announcement? Where did you want to begin to take a bite out of this big apple?
I think going by publisher is probably the best idea, but I'll let you choose which one we start with.
And I'm assuming Nintendo would qualify as a publisher because everyone talked about Nintendo and what they released and what they announced. They had some games that were, long hiatuses, and I'm namely thinking of like Animal Crossing, but I'm not completely familiar with what Nintendo showed off. So if you want to start there, I'd be more than happy to.
Well, we had a variety of interesting things come out from Nintendo. One of the big ones is that we heard a little bit more about the new Animal Crossing on the Switch, of course. Animal Crossing, you've got your really diehard fans that are super into it, so the fact that one's coming to the Switch is really great, especially since Animal Crossing's got kind of a reputation of being this mobile series now. It works great on a mobile platform. The Switch is both a home platform and a mobile platform, so it's a perfect home for it.
Yeah, and of course, and I think the last time that one had a full-blown release was like 2013, so 6 years. A lot of people were happy, and I'm, if anyone out there is watching the video portion, of course, we have the full-blown, I guess, kind of games that were kind of announced. Let's go one by one and just talk about Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. I guess they've moved away from black, white, emerald, red, blue, green, and now they're just going with proper objects. But Pokemon Shield and Pokemon Sword, that was a big announcement, and it's always exciting when a new Pokemon, a new entry into the franchise is announced. What did you think of that one?
Well, we've known about that one existing for some time now. I would say it was first announced a few months ago, to be honest. It's the first mainline Nintendo game, or rather mainline Pokemon game, to come to the Switch, and it's also interesting because usually these are portable games. I mean, the Switch is also a home console, and normally you get your spin-off Pokemon games on your home console. It's not the case this time. As for the game itself, of course, it looks fantastic. I mean, Pokemon is one of Nintendo's heaviest hitting franchises. I would expect nothing less.
Right. And of course, I'm personally looking forward to that. Like, honestly, as much as the Nintendo Switch came out with heavy hitters, such as the Super Smash Brothers and Breath of the Wild and things like that. Personally, I was waiting to pick up a Switch until a new Pokemon game came out. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that's in November. Let's see. So what else we got here? Looks like we have, and I heard rumors about this, but speaking of Breath of the Wild, they were going to make a DLC for Zelda Breath of the Wild, or The Legend of Zelda, and they said that they were so overflowing with ideas, which I don't know how much of that is PR speak or how much they really believe that, but it's getting a full-blown sequel instead of just a instead of just a DLC. They're coming out with another one, and then of course there's also Link's Awakening, which we can throw into the mix as well. So, what do you think of the new Legend of Zelda games?
Well, to be fair, there actually was DLC for Breath of the Wild, but this is just a full-blown sequel. Like, we don't know the name of it yet, but we know that there's going to be more Breath of the Wild, which I'm completely fine with. There was a period there right when the Switch came out that they had actually sold more copies of Breath of the Wild than Switches.
Which makes no sense, right?
Yeah. As for Link's Awakening, this is a game, it's kind of a cult classic. A lot of people really love it. It's nice to see it coming out on a bigger platform because, I played through it about a year ago. I played through the whole thing, and it's real cramped on the Game Boy. Like, it'll be nice to have a little bit more space.
And I think Link's Awakening was my first Zelda game. Thinking way back when on the Game Boy, I think that was my first one. So it's a bit it's a bit different than the old Game Boy version. It's not pixely by any means, but it is cartoonish. It is stylized, and I'm, of course, looking forward to that. And really, you could say that about a lot of Nintendo's games, so let's see what else. There was that, Pokemon Legend of Zelda. They announced some more DLC or some new characters for Super Smash Brothers, which, I mean, that game is just going to have every single character. Was that they announced Banjo-Kazooie, and they announced do you recall which characters they announced were coming to the game?
So the two big ones for Smash, the ones they announced were Banjo-Kazooie, as you mentioned, and also the hero from Dragon Quest. That second one's interesting because it's actually several different characters in one. It's the main character is based on the hero from Dragon Quest XI, which came out earlier this year, earlier this year, and but there are options from all the other Dragon Quest games, which is super interesting. But really, let's be real, nobody cares about that. They all care about the fact that you can play as Banjo-Kazooie in Smash. Nobody really saw that coming. It's super cool. Yada yada yada. Still not as cool as the Persona 5 hero, but pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw the finisher or the ultimate moves and stuff like that from the Persona 5 character. Man, they and that's kind of what I like about Nintendo. It seems like the people behind it are having a lot of fun with with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So that's what I like to see kind of going forward. So let's see. So The Witcher 3, it's been out for a little while. The Wild Hunt coming to the Switch. A lot more third parties are coming to the Switch. Very interesting to see. And of course, anyone who knows The Witcher, there's violence, there's nudity, there's just gore and stuff like that. I was not expecting The Witcher to come to the Switch, but there you go.
I think that slowly but surely we're seeing Nintendo kind of shake off the perception of being just a kiddie publisher / developer. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's not surprising that we're seeing games like The Witcher come to the Switch. What I'm interested in seeing is how it runs on the Switch. It's a slightly older game these days, but can the Switch handle it? That's really what I'm interested in.
Yeah, they're even on my computer, which I have a big beefy graphics card. I had to turn down some settings to make The Witcher run, in any kind of good frame rate. It's a very graphic intensive game. Let's see what they can do with it. Was there any hardware announcement from Nintendo? Because I'm kind of looking through all their games. A lot of it was, of course, game centric. I'm not going to count new Amiibo figurines as hardware, but they had a lot of games and. Yeah, so did they have any hardware announced? Oh, Corey, can you hear me? Uh-oh, did we lose Corey? That's not good. Sorry, folks, let me check that. And Corey may have had to step away for just a moment. Oh, Corey, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, hi. Perfect. We hear you now.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
So you asked about hardware from Nintendo.
Right.
I don't believe so. And kind of the theme for this year is mostly games. We have heard rumors of a Switch Mini coming out at some point, but we don't really know anything about that yet.
Right, and that was some of the rumors leading up to E3 was that we were going to hear either I think they were saying like a mini, like you said, or some kind of smaller or cheaper Nintendo Switch, but I guess that didn't pan out. That was just one of those rumors that that didn't actually happen. but lots of games, lots of stuff like that. So just kind of overall, I've heard, I don't know why people insist on trying to say who won E3, but I did want your overall impression of Nintendo's offerings. Is that everything that we kind of expect from Nintendo? Just, lots of fun games here in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's pretty standard for Nintendo. There have been very few occasions they failed to deliver. The only one I could think of was when they really embarrassed themselves was back when they announced Wii Music, and even then they had some good games to announce. They just chose the wrong thing for their headliner. But this
Right.
time it was great. No, we got Luigi's Mansion, we got Pokemon, we got apparently a new Panzer Dragoon. It's nuts. Nintendo's great.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, and that's Nintendo, just one of many publishers that were out there. And of course, we're going to cover kind of the major publishers here on the show. And then if we have time, we're going to look for some of the more indie games that we're able to, kind of squeak into E3. Probably not going to be able to get to it all, but we're going to try our best. So with that being said, I think we're going to go ahead, wrap up Nintendo. As always, if you want to see trailers and things like that, we're going to include a link in the show notes to all the different games and all the different trailers. They're worth watching. But with that, I think let's see, Corey. The next publisher I wanted to talk about was who makes Cyberpunk 2077, and the fact that everyone lost their minds over Keanu Reeves. So let's see, who is that?
Who is Keanu Reeves? He's an actor. He was made famous by several films, including Biodome and The Matrix.
Yeah, that one. Thank you. Cyberpunk 2077 is that Ubisoft or no? I'm sorry, CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 is made by CD Projekt Red, who incidentally make The Witcher, which we were just talking about.
Yes. So let's go ahead and talk about CD Projekt Red at E3. Let's see. I'm trying to look up the an article here for that. But did you happen to catch that keynote? Did you happen to catch everything that comes with CD Projekt Red, Cyberpunk 2077? Because I'd say Cyberpunk 2077, if you haven't heard of it, is one of the more anticipated games of the year. Like, it's kind of, this year's, kind of big game for a lot of people. What did they kind of talk about, if you caught that?
I only caught a little bit of it. I've actually been trying to avoid too much news about this game because I'm really interested in playing it for myself. And you know how it is. You get super hyped up for a game and the game doesn't come out for months and you just immerse yourself in the hype. And then it comes out and it's not that great and life is hard. But what I've heard is that Keanu Reeves is in the game. He's a sidekick character. He's a significant sidekick character, not just a rando. The game itself, from what I've seen, looks fantastic. I've been trying to avoid seeing too much so it doesn't look too fantastic. You know how it is.
Right. Yeah. Don't want to get too hyped, but at the same time, that's what E3 is. E3 is all about getting hyped about what's coming out later in the year. So Cyberpunk 2077, they're working on it. Great strides. I think Keanu kind of got pulled because he's, of course, a big name to a lot of people. Unfortunately, the internet kind of went a little crazy with him. I've gotten kind of sick of the Keanu memes out there with. At E3, there was the whole breathtaking thing where they had someone in the crowd yell that, but overall, looking forward to that. CD Projekt Red, did they announce anything else that you can remember? Did they announce any new The Witcher or anything like that, or was it all just kind of Cyberpunk?
Right now, I believe we're full speed ahead on Cyberpunk. If they announce anything else other than that, I sure as hell didn't hear about it. I'm pretty sure we're 100% Cyberpunk and Keanu all day, every day.
Perfect. So, okay, there's that one. Easy recap. Let's go ahead and switch things over. Was there any publisher that really stood out to you? I know that Microsoft was another big one with some hardware announcements, and I think I'm looking at this article here from SteelSeries, and they mentioned that Xbox press conference had a 5-minute trailer or something like that showed off 60 different games that are coming to Microsoft, which, hey, Nintendo showed off a bunch of really good-looking games. I guess Microsoft can show off 60 games in 5 minutes. So if you want to talk about Microsoft, we can certainly do that.
Absolutely, yeah, let's go ahead. So the big thing for Microsoft is it's a new hardware console called Project Scarlet. All we know about it right now is that it's more powerful and that it's going to have Halo.
Project Scarlet. So I'm going to go ahead and Google that. And of course, I can think back to things like Project Scorpio, where Scorpio was supposed to be a big thing, but that kind of fell short because it was, I think, in a lot of ways seen as the last version of this generation of Xbox consoles. Project Scarlet, though, do we know anything about that?
Sorry, one more time. You cut out for a minute.
Sorry about that. Do we know anything about Project Scarlet? About let's see, 2020 release date. Let's talk about the specs real quick. Trying to look through here. So new hardware from AMD. AMD is pretty par for the course. Zen 2 CPU. I mean, it looks pretty good. And of course, they promise 120 frames per second and 8K. Does that get you excited, Corey?
New hardware always gets me going, absolutely. What we've seen makes it sound pretty powerful. As usual, a console is probably going to lag behind a PC by about a generation or so. But still, we've been in this current hardware generation for about, I think, 6 years now? Maybe 5? Mm-hmm. It's time for something new. So I'm glad we're finally starting to see it.
I don't know how I feel about 8K. Obviously, to actually get to 8K, a lot of people are still trying to get to 4K when it comes to gaming. 4K gaming, I think, is kind of the rarity. I think a lot of people are still on 1080p, 120 frames per second. Love to see it. Although a lot of the video games and a lot of the console that was promised with 60 frames per 4K 60 frames per second, that didn't exactly come to fruition in a lot of instances. So I'm skeptical, but I'm glad that they're pushing the hardware and really, just speak to the, I guess over the past year or so, Corey, Microsoft has been making some moves about, yes, the Xbox is still going, but they're bringing PC gaming and I guess Xbox community closer and closer together, where I think like if you buy it in the Microsoft store, you can play it on either your computer or the Xbox. Do you think that's a trend we're going to continue to see, where Microsoft is trying to, I guess, convince people that any Microsoft computer is also a gaming system, and that means that Microsoft's the de facto winner, even with Sony being more dominant in the console space? Microsoft's the winner because everyone has a PC.
I've as somebody who mostly plays games on PC myself, I'm actually pretty fond of the way they've been doing this, where most of what comes out on Xbox will also see the light on PC. And so far, it's been great. I've had no issue with the Microsoft Store. I find the games run great on my system without fail. So yeah, no, I think that's going really well for them. In terms of Microsoft versus Sony, I'm going to be honest. I think at this point, even comparing the two is kind of silly because outside of a very, very small handful of exclusives, pretty much everything comes to every platform.
I wish I could agree with you on that one. I would say that one of my favorite games is like Destiny 2, and just the way that they handle Destiny 2, I am so disappointed that... Well, I'm disappointed in myself for having an Xbox and not having a PC, or a PlayStation. There are some very tantalizing exclusives for the PlayStation that I wish I had. So I'm like you. Most of my games are on PC. That's really what I do, and so I'm looking forward to Microsoft. But at the same time, I'm still wishing I had a PlayStation. So yeah, I feel that. So again, continuing on with Microsoft, Project Scarlet. We don't know much about it. Just some good hardware. Hoping to hear more of that. Looks like Halo Infinite. What do we know about the new Halo? Because Halo, much like I can't even say much like Animal Crossing. It's even bigger than that. Much like let's say a new Legend of Zelda. It's one of the biggest franchises that Xbox has to offer. What do we know about Halo Infinite? Corey, you there? Oh no, we might have lost Corey again. So,
hello.
Oh yeah, hi. Perfect.
Yeah, sorry about that. You seem to keep losing me. Anyway, as far as Halo Infinite goes, I don't think we know a whole lot. We've seen a little bit of footage. We know it's going to be on the Scarlet. I'm not sure if we're even fully aware that it's going to be called Halo Infinite or not. We don't know much about the plot, about the gameplay, just that there is more Halo, and everybody loves more Halo, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at what little gameplay that we actually have. We're gonna throw it up on the video portion right there, and yeah, it looks like. Let's see. Let's go ahead and mute the site, but. Yeah, it's a different character. Unfortunately I kind of have to skip through it. I can't actually sit here and watch it, but it's a 6-minute trailer. Master Chief, the armor, all that good stuff. Rebooting him, very reminiscent of Halo 1 when you wake up in the cryostasis chamber. They went back to the original armor, which is always good to see. Yeah, Halo Infinite, Big Broken Ring. I love Halo just so much, and I think this is the one, right? That they promised was coming to the Steam store as well. Like it's not just an Xbox exclusive; it's going to be on the PC as well, which is very different for Halo.
Absolutely, and we've seen things like Master Chief Collection eventually coming to Steam, which is super exciting. Yeah, again, as somebody who mostly plays on PC, I tend to find that most games run better when given the hardware to really breathe, and that's what the PC does. So playing Master Chief Collection and Halo Infinite on PC is going to be a great experience, I think.
And then on top of that, one last thing, looks like, and I'm sure that you've heard about it. We haven't talked too much on the show. We've mentioned it during our news segments and things like that. There's, of course, it's Google, oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting the name, but they have a cloud gaming service. Sony, they had a big announcement when they actually tapped Microsoft, of all people, to help them bring a cloud gaming service, and looks like Microsoft is going to be debuting, let's see, this is the Project X Cloud, which debuted back in earlier March, but yeah, it looks like they had a hands-on demo to show at E3. Cloud gaming, I don't think we've mentioned it here much with you and just kind of on our gaming segments. Are you excited about cloud gaming? Because that's, I think, going to be, if they get it right, it's going to be a game changer when it comes to consoles, because at that point, consoles can look as good as PC gaming, and a lot more people with, I guess, even really bad computers are going to have access to some of the latest releases. So Project X Cloud, and let's go ahead and roll in the Google gaming service and PlayStations that they're coming out with. Are you excited for cloud gaming? Because it seems like it's coming probably next year.
So I've played a few different cloud gaming services. I've tried PS Now, I've tried Project Stream. Generally speaking, the experience is what you would expect it to be, which is that latency and lag and buffering.
Mm-hmm.
These are all big problems. They continue to be big problems. We just really don't have the infrastructure to make this work, to be honest. I think it sounds really nice.
Right.
I think people who don't really know a lot about games or a lot about networking are going to think it's great. But I think in practice, we're not quite there yet.
And by the way, it's Google Project Stadia or Stadia. I'm not sure how they actually pronounce it, but you have to admit that between Google and Microsoft with the Azure Cloud and Google, and of course the Google whole ecosystem, these are probably two of the biggest companies we've seen who are already involved in networking, trying to get involved with streaming video games. So even though other companies have tried, you're right. I've experienced that too. It can be almost unplayable, even if the latency gets up to 200, 300, 400 milliseconds. Games are almost unplayable. But I think that Google and Microsoft, between the two of them, could probably come out with some kind of service that, if not multiplayer, at least some single players would be very enjoyable to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea in theory. Again, in practice, it just really comes down to having the infrastructure for it. And maybe in certain places, maybe in certain cities, maybe in certain locations, that's going to be one thing. But for your regular person who's going to try to run it off a Wi-Fi system that maybe they didn't set up, they'll set up for them by Verizon or Comcast or whatever, that's not optimized for this kind of thing, I don't think it's going to be a great experience.
And then the last thing that I wanted to comment just real quick, and we can maybe come back to the other side of the break because we're going to go to break here in about a minute. But I was just flipping through this article from Games Radar about Microsoft and the Xbox Project Scarlet and things like that. And something that I did not hear too much about in general, Project Scarlet may have the functionality to run a virtual reality headset. Virtual reality in general just didn't seem to be at the forefront, or if it was, I didn't catch it. Talk about, could you see Project Scarlet have virtual reality capabilities, and would you be interested in that? And then on top of that, maybe when we come back here in about 20 seconds, actually I may just take us out to the break here, but Corey, when we come back, would you like to talk about VR real quick?
Absolutely. Real quick.
All right. Real super quick. And hopefully it's not just a no. But everyone, the music in the background means we're going to take a break. Corey Gallagher, popzara.com. Go check out his writing. We'll have a link in the show notes to all of his articles. And everyone, we'll be right back. More E3 Roundup right after this. We're talking all publishers and all different announcements. Everyone, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer. And again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. That's 800-215-4461.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 32 minutes past the hour as we continue on here. And everyone, hey, thank you for continuing on with us. If you missed any part of the program today, please check out wherever podcasts are heard, and we'll have today's show up and running right after the program. Live show always only on the video portion and the radio, but after that it's live show rebroadcast for your convenience. So you can tune in, you can of course schedule us, what have you. Any way that you get Computer America into your lives is the best way. So with that being said, let's go ahead and continue on. Corey Gallagher, popzara.com, and of course, right before the break, I was trying to introduce the topic, but it ran a little long, so let me reintroduce it real quick. Virtual reality. And of course, Microsoft said that, read a little bit more into the article here. If you're watching the video portion, you can see it there. Microsoft abandoned any kind of VR strategy for the Xbox because they were waiting for, wireless virtual reality. Wired has certainly come a long way. Virtual reality has seen some improvements, but it seems like a lot of the big tech companies are waiting for a good wireless option so you don't have this giant tether attached to you. It looks like Microsoft is kind of taking that route. They're going to wait for something a little bit more serious. It looks like, and really, it seems like a lot of people are, and by people I mean consumers. A lot of consumers, I think, are kind of in the same idea venue as well. So, Corey, again, thank you for continuing on, and let's go ahead and reintroduce this. Do you expect any kind of VR from Project Scarlet, or at least would you enjoy that if it were available? And VR in general, how much of that did we really see at E3? Oh, wait, and just one moment. I have you muted. So, Corey, can you hear me?
I sure can.
There we go. All right, we're good. Go ahead.
So as far as VR goes, it's a dream we're really trying to hold on to, isn't it? It's lasted longer than 3D did, so I guess there's that. But it's still not the kind of mainstream thing people would like it to be. The PSVR is the closest we've gotten to something like a affordable VR system for the mainstream. And even that, I don't know how well it's did. It's definitely not the most common thing you'd see out there. So we keep it alive. It's very pricey still. It requires a lot of power still. It's the kind of thing that maybe Project Scarlet could use effectively, though. Again, it comes down to, if people are willing to accept slightly worse graphics and the fact you're wearing a headset. One thing you mentioned is the idea of a wireless solution, which I think might help a lot, but it's still expensive. It still requires a lot of power. The graphics still aren't as good, and a lot of people are going to still see it as a gimmick.
Yeah, no, it's and just like the same thing with we just talked about the streaming video games and the latency. The latency is all the more important when it comes to virtual reality because if you swing a controller, if you react to something in virtual reality, and if it's even a fraction of the latency of kind of like a keyboard, mouse, or a controller, it's going to be so much more noticeable and nauseating in virtual reality. So it's asking for a wireless virtual reality is a tall order. So like you said, a dream that continues to stay alive. I'm hoping for the best from it because VR I think does have a niche. It's just it needs to really expand it. So with that being said, Microsoft in general, it looks like they showed up, which is more than we can say about Sony. Overall, I think from what they announced, I'm pretty happy with what Microsoft showed off.
Absolutely. Again, I don't know if VR is really going to be the next big thing, but certainly great games are, those are always in style. And Microsoft showed off a lot of interesting stuff, so I'm all for it.
Yep, and lots of publishers. I think it was last year at E3, Microsoft really said that they were and people will complain about anything, but they were, if not snatching up and buying out indie game companies, they were at least paying a lot of companies, smaller developers, even in some cases, one-person development teams, to bring their games to the Xbox marketplace. And, Microsoft really wanted more games because that was one complaint that they had versus the PlayStation was that, PlayStation was just killing it when it came to game exclusives and games in general. Microsoft, again, from their, kind of announcement trailer with 60 different games, including a lot of indie developers, smaller video games, Microsoft is still going, hog wild when it comes to getting games onto their system, which out of gaming convention, that's what you want to hear. So I'm happy to see it. So with and hopefully Corey's there in the background, but now that's Microsoft. Like we said, Sony didn't show up. They they kind of forewent this because Sony, let's face it, they can make their own press. They didn't need to leverage E3, but hey, we would have appreciated it if they did go. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the other publishers. I'm trying to think. Let's see. We can talk about Ubisoft. I think would be a pretty good, I guess, kind of recap to do next. So let's see, Ubisoft, what did they show off? I think I have the thing here where they show it off. Let's see, Watch Dogs, which I guess I'm excited for. I never played the first one, so I wasn't really too excited.
Watch Dogs, that's a big one. Like that, honestly, I would say that of everything I saw at E3 this year, probably Watch Dogs Legion was the biggest one.
You think? Why are you excited for that?
Just a really interesting concept, and you can play as every character. There's apparently 20 different versions of the game script, so you can play as a different character the whole way through each time, get a different experience. Stuff like that's pretty great. I also thought the last couple Watch Dogs games were pretty good, despite the internet freaking out about them. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Okay, no, great. So again, they really showed off some games here. It looks like Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. We also had Breakpoint. If you want to go check out the trailer for that, looks like they showed off some gameplay trailer of that. The Division 2, which when it comes to the Division, I never played it once again, but I'm all for, I guess, kind of massive looters and shooters and, kind of this RPG kind of thing. If I'm thinking, let's see, Tom Clancy, The Division 2, am I thinking of the right one where it's like, kind of multiplayer, kind of RPG, like first-person shooter RPG? Is that The Division?
That's the one. It's kind of a first-person, it's a third-person shooter, somewhat similar to how Destiny plays out.
Yeah.
You'd probably enjoy it, honestly, given how much you like Destiny.
Yeah. No. And so I'm happy to see a new one. Looks like Jessica Chastain, Jake Gyllenhaal. They're also, they were also there to kind of do that. Let's see. So Roller Champions, don't know anything about, but hey, we can certainly hope the best for that. So they had that. Rainbow Six Quarantine. Rainbow Six is one of those games that, like, I think it wasn't picked up when it first came out, but Rainbow Six Siege, which is the one I'm thinking about, not Quarantine, which they showed off. Rainbow Six Siege has really stuck around as kind of a really good competitive game. Looks like they're continuing on with the franchise with Rainbow Six Quarantine.
Yeah, it's a really interesting concept. This idea of taking this always very serious sort of tactical shooter and introducing what appears to be zombies? Yeah, no, that's a little nuts.
Yeah, well, hey, zombies are a classic when it comes to these kinds of games because they're the one enemy that they're human-like, but you have no problem putting them down because, hey, they're zombies. That's what they're made for. They're made to be killed. So there's that one, launched sometime in early 2020. Lots of Tom Clancy. I am surprised at how much Tom Clancy. They have, of course, Tom Clancy The Division, Tom Clancy Ghost Recon, Tom Clancy Rainbow Six Quarantine, and now Tom Clancy Elite Squad is a mobile RPG. Mobile games. More companies are trying to get involved with that. Okay, I have no problem. I think it's the whole Chinese market and the whole mobile market that they're trying to tap into, but that's okay because Corey, I don't know how much you fly or travel or things like that, but during E3 I was traveling and I had to download some games on my phone to keep me entertained because reading a book is just too boring. So mobile games have come a long way, but there's still plenty of room for innovation. So I like seeing good mobile games come out.
It's nice to see them come out, certainly. I don't tend to play a lot of mobile games for various reasons, but I appreciate they exist. It's nice when good ones come out because they're, more quality games on any platform is great. There are complaints about them at times from the usual suspects who can mostly be ignored, but things like Diablo Immortal,
yeah,
if it's good, it's good. We can hope it's good. It's not like it's not going to come out. It's not like the work hasn't been done. It hasn't already been done for it. So all we can do at this point is hope that it's great. Same thing with this new Ghost Recon game on mobile. Yeah.
Yep. So I think that's Ubisoft. We hit a lot of their major announcements. They have a lot of games coming out, which is great to see. I'm glad that they're coming out with so much, even if they are all Tom Clancy games. That's Ubisoft. And Bethesda, I think, is where I would like to take this next, if you don't mind. Bethesda and what they announced, I think they had some gameplay trailer of the latest, let's say Skyrim, the latest Elder Scrolls, and more on top of that. So Bethesda E3, what do we see out of them?
Well, the big game we saw out of them, if you ask me, was definitely Doom Eternal. You familiar with that one?
I'm familiar with Doom, but if you would like to refresh me on Doom Eternal, I would love that.
Doom Eternal is the sequel to the Doom reboot from a couple years ago, which was generally hailed as a fantastic game. This is looking like more of the same. Just a real high-quality first-person shooter, lots of gore, lots of action. The kind of video game that kind of shuns the idea of games having to be art. They can just be fun. That's what we need more of, really, if you ask me.
Yeah, we're looking at the gameplay trailer right now. Certainly high fidelity graphics. If you haven't seen, I guess, the reboot of Doom, and if you're watching on the video portion right now, this has come a long way from Doom's origins. And man, this looks like just a AAA, really, really fun game, which love to see. So Doom Eternal coming out. Let's see, launches November 22nd. If anyone was trying to. If anyone wanted to mark their calendars, they said that they'll have more about it at QuakeCon. Quake is a game that, again, I'm kind of surprised has stuck around, but I'm happy to see it. Fallout 76 looks like to be another topic that they announced with a Wastelands update, Wastelanders update. Looks like Fallout 76 is getting an expansion DLC, something like that.
Right. Fallout 76 didn't really launch to great reviews. Nobody seemed to like it much, but they're doing a lot of work on revamping it. They're spending a lot of money that they really don't have to spend. They're adding in NPCs, which they said that they would never do, which, again, if a game developer or publisher says they're never going to do something, please don't listen. That's ridiculous. But if you already own Fallout 76, I believe this is going to be a free update, so you might as well take a look.
Yeah, free update, and Fallout 76, just that big, or at least their launch into the multiplayer Fallout series, much like Destiny and other things like that. I am really all for, because hey, it pushes it forward, and it looks like on top of that they also have Fallout 76 Nuclear Winter, which even though it's probably a couple months late, and I know that gaming trends can be very fickle and very quick, looks like they're getting a battle royale for Fallout 76. It's a fun genre, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah, absolutely. Though, again, as is the case, in this industry, we can't have something be good and not have 20 of it. So at this point, I think Battle Royale is kind of dying down. We're moving on to auto chess games.
Which I wanted to squeak in there at the end. I definitely want to bring that back up, because I've been waiting for, even though it's only been weeks, I've been waiting for weeks for the League of Legends auto chess, which should come out sometime today. So I'm looking forward to that, but hey, that's for later. We continue on. Bethesda E3 2019 recap, and let's see, Ghostwire Tokyo, new action game from the makers of The Evil Within. So hey, new titles from Bethesda, great to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to see more of Starfield or of Elder Scrolls 6, but we will see about that, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. So we have Deathloop. Don't know too much about. Looks like featuring dual protagonists trapped in a time loop where they murder one another infinitely. So I guess it's like spy versus spy. And so there's that. Elder Scrolls Blades, which is coming to Nintendo Switch. Mortier's it's a completely standalone, I guess, kind of, or actually, if I'm not mistaken, the Elder Scrolls Blades was like a mobile game that I guess is getting a port to the Nintendo Switch, so something there. Rage 2, the first one was quite the game on it in its own right. So a Rage 2, always good to see. Wolfenstein Young Blood, and your usual Nazi killing fest, always fun. And looks like they had some other things about the Elder Scrolls Online and other small announcements, but yeah, no Elder Scrolls Morrowind. Wow, that's Elder Scrolls 4. No new updates about the latest Elder Scrolls 6.
Not yet, and I don't know if we're going to see anything anytime soon. These are big games.
Oh, Corey, we actually lost there just for a second. We cut off right when you said these are big games, and then you cut off. So pick it up from there. Oh, Corey, can you hear me? Once again, sorry about
games.
There we go.
They're meant to last. Hello?
Oh yeah, sorry. We cut off just right there. Sorry about the connection. I don't know what's up with that, but yeah. So you said that these are big games, and
these are big games. I mean, people still play Skyrim years later. They're meant to last for a long time. People still mod Skyrim. Skyrim still comes out for every platform, including like Alexa. I think you can get it on Google
Smart Fridge, right.
Google Play. It's nuts.
Right, yeah.
So the next Elder Scrolls game is going to definitely try to be another one of those, I believe. This kind of platform more so than a game itself.
I do like the fact that they're just those special games that are like, I think Super Smash Brothers could be one of them that you could consider, but really, your Grand Theft Autos and your Elder Scrolls, that they sometimes last longer than the generation of platforms that they come out on. Like Grand Theft Autos can last 6, 7, 8 years. Your Elder Scrolls can last 6, 7, 8 years, thanks to the modding community and thanks to everything that they do. So I'm happy if they take a couple extra years to develop, because hey, if everything goes well, they'll stick around for way more many years. So
absolutely.
Okay, so there's that one. There's Bethesda. Let's see. So what other publishers can you think off the top of your head, Corey, that we didn't cover? Let's see.
I think we pretty much touched on most of the big ones.
I think so. I think we did pretty good. Let's see. So there's Bethesda, EA. Well, hey, we didn't touch at all on EA, which we should probably do so. So EA 2019 E3 announcements. Let's go ahead and give that a Google so we can react to that the best we can. But here we go. So E3, they have Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and I have to ask this. I'm going to ask this in a very specific way, Corey. Which Star Wars Jedi game did you fall in love with? Because for me, it was Jedi Academy, which was just so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Jedi Academy. I love playing the multiplayer. I thought the single player was great. It's a wonderful game.
Yeah, so we have a new one.
Make sure you always bow before you fight, by the way.
Absolutely. So we have a new one, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which looks to be another great entry into the franchise. And hey, they have 14 minutes of gameplay. We're going to show a little bit here in the background, but overall, looks really nice. So happy to see it, and I'm sure that you're happy to see it too. Apex Legends is getting a new legend for Season 2. Always good to see. Apex Legends, like you said, the Battle Royale genre is kind of dying down a little bit, but at the same time, it's still very popular. Like, I think it found its niche. So it's not going away completely, but I think that the hype is kind of fallen down. But Apex Legends, I'm assuming you still think it's a good game, right?
I haven't played it in months. I don't think anybody else has either, but what I played was great.
Okay, that's fair. Let's see. So they have a new FIFA. Actually, this is FIFA Street, as in kind of a not the official FIFA pro athlete kind of skin game, but hey, they have which is FIFA 2019 or FIFA 19. FIFA Street it's coming out there. Battlefield is going back to the Pacific. Looks like they showed off a little bit from EA, DICE, and Battlefield. Let's see, it's previewing new multiplayer maps and looks like a new addition to the franchise. So, hey, looks like we're going to get a new Battlefield. Looks like next year.
Sounds good to me. I'm all for it. I don't know that Battlefield 5 really made the splash that they hoped it would, but hopefully a new one's great.
Yep, and hey, speaking of the splash that probably didn't make, that they probably wanted to make a big splash with, although personally, The Sims. I love The Sims so much just as a franchise. It's just EA and the way that they handle The Sims. It's always like a $20, $30 content expansion pack, which is just like limited DLC that's, just I never seem to be able to justify the DLCs. But looks like they have a new one coming out, Island Living. So The Sims still being developed. Who knew?
The Sims, hooray.
Hooray, indeed. So there you go. That's about all they had from EA. And hey, not bad, but like a couple of the others, not too amazing. So with that being said, we have like 5 minutes left, and just as a personal favor, let's talk about Auto Chess since you mentioned it, and I'm really looking forward to the League of Legends ones that's coming out. I think we call it Auto Chess genre because it was a mod, or at least it was made by a company actually, but it was a modification of Defense of the Ancients 2, which was known as Auto Chess. let's talk about auto chess real quick, because this is something that I think more people need to know about. So what is the genre? Like, how does it play, and why are you excited about it?
So auto chess is basically where you take a bunch of characters, you give them different traits, you purchase the characters between rounds, and then they fight, and characters with similar traits become stronger. So it's a combination of, honestly, based on what I've played, it feels a bit like poker. You have to kind of use what you're given to the best of your abilities. Sometimes you don't win, sometimes you do. It's hard to explain, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, and did you play auto chess itself, or did you play? Let's see. I think they had.
I played the new League of Legends one called Teamfight Tactics.
You play Teamfight Tactics. See, I never got around to downloading the public beta environment, but
It comes out tomorrow.
Does it come out tomorrow? I thought it was supposed to come out today.
It's out in Australia today. I think they pushed it back for tomorrow's League of Legends patch.
I am so looking forward to that. And obviously they had Dota Underlords, which was the official release of an auto chess clone for Defense of the Ancients. At least Valve, I think, made that one.
Right, because like I said, in the modern games industry, we cannot have one of something good. There has to be like 50 of them.
Well, yeah, and of course, so you have Dota, which is the mod, with auto chess, and then on top of that, there's the official one from Valve now, and then like you just said, the League of Legends one is going to be coming out tomorrow, which I'm very sad to hear. But yeah, what do you think of when you play the League of Legends ones? Because if memory serves, they only started working on it like 6 weeks ago. And when it comes to these big companies, that's that's a very fast turnaround time for a completely, even though it's like a modded version of the game, for a completely different game.
I play a pretty huge amount of League of Legends in general, so I was pleased to see characters that I'm familiar with and that I enjoy in a genre that's new, that's a lot of fun to play. It's very polished, even for a beta. I think that anybody interested in the genre should give it a look.
And unfortunately, I don't think too many people are interested in the genre just because they might not have heard about the genre. But I'm with you. It kind of has that poker feel. It has that competitive feel, but it's not too much about quick reactions. It's more about strategy and thinking and that kind of thing. I will say though, I'm surprised. I'm just now learning that you play a lot of League of Legends. Just as a for my own peace of mind, do you play a lot of ranked or just ARAM, or what do you do?
I mostly play norms. I've only been playing for about 6 months now. Haven't gotten ranked yet, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, yeah, no, I've been trying to get my diamond rank back, but I'm doing some stupid stuff. But I'm having fun doing the stupid stuff, so it's okay. But with that being said, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's patch with auto chess. I'm going to be playing that a lot, and hey, I hope to see you out there and I can kick your butt. And I guess just as another personal announcement, I will say that personal favorite, World of Warcraft 8.2 will be coming out today. It actually should be up. They took the servers down for like 8 hours, which is always a long time. But they have a new content patch for World of Warcraft. If you haven't played in a couple of months, this will be a good time to jump back in because they're doing some catch-up mechanics, a new zone, lots of new items and things like that. But Corey, I think you quit WoW quite a while ago.
I played a little bit of Legion, but I never actually got into Battle for Azeroth. I think I'll get back into WoW when Classic's out.
Yeah, hey, and that's coming out in August, which, Corey, I know that we didn't talk about this. We can talk about this on the air real quick, but because normally you would be on July 2nd, which is in just 1 week, I think we're actually going to forego that if you don't mind, and we're going to catch up with you again in August. Just to let time pass and have things to talk about. So in August, when you come on, it should be just before Classic is released, and then the following month, Classic will have been out, and you can tell us how you haven't eaten, bathed, or slept since Classic came out a month ago. So that sound good to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, perfect. So, Corey, we are just about flat out of time. We have like a minute left. If just final thoughts on E3 2019, just as a convention, was it everything that you expect? I mean, E3 seems to be going strong. I don't see anyone saying E3 is on its way out. Maybe Nathan will come on the show later this week and say that. But E3 2019, were you happy? Corey, might have lost you there one last time, and hopefully won't let that happen again. But E3 2019, Corey, final impressions? Nope. May have lost him for good there. So everyone, yep, there goes. So unfortunately, the connection's being with the. Oh wait, and actually, I think we just got him. So one last time.
Hello,
Corey?
hello.
Yep. Hey.
Yeah, so E3. It's been a long time since I saw an E3 with nothing that I liked. In fact, I can't think that it's ever happened. There was definitely some cool stuff here. Watch Dogs Legion is great. Cyberpunk sounds good. Of course, I want a Project Scarlet when those are out too. So yeah, E3 is good. I tend to skip years, like I said. I think next year is going to be big, so be ready for that.
2020. It's going to be it's going to be a very important year, just because hey, big round number, and on top of that, I think it's we're kind of due for the next generation of hardware. We're kind of due for the next generation of a lot of big franchises. Even for an off year, this was really cool to see. So Corey, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and discussing E3 with us. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Ben.
All right, and if people want to follow you, they want to find you, your musings, things like that, where's the best place to go? We're going to give them a link to your writings at Popzara, but where else can they go?
You can check me out on Popzara, popzara.com, or The Well-Read Mage, that's WELLREDMAGE.com.
All right, perfect. And everyone, once again, links to that. And Corey, until I guess August, we'll catch you then, and looking forward to catching up with you. All right, everyone. So there we go. We're just flat out of time. Thank you so much, Corey. Everyone, if you missed any part of today's show, check out ComputerAmerica.com. We're out of time. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.